So will I see messages? Oh.
You will see everything. Hey, beautiful people. Welcome to tonight's show. This is Obodo Oyibo TV live stream. I salute you all, my beautiful Obodo fam. I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome. I see all of you, and I always salute both those who are in the studio at the moment, at the soon now, for comment section, and those who catch this later on. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I appreciate you all. Thank you for your love and your support. And yeah, you're welcome to tonight's live stream. Just a quick reminder before I introduce my guest. If you would please just hit on that like button. There's a like button on YouTube, not the one on in the comment section. This one is on YouTube. And if you've not yet subscribed, please do so. That's the only way you can support us. Subscribe, hit the like button, and if you don't have the notification bell on, that's the bell. You need to click on it so that whenever we're on live, you can actually know you get notifications. So you are welcome. Thank you very much to all my returning subscribers. I appreciate you guys. I love you very much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. You're welcome. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to my guest. She's here to talk to us, and this is sharing from the heart. Let me just remind you before we start, I know all my regular subscribers and fans here already know the rules on this platform. There is no abuse. This is someone who have decided to share her story. This is her lived experience to educate us, to teach us, because there are so many people that are suffering in silence who cannot speak. But she's been through the process and she wants to educate us. So please be respectful. Do not ask any questions that will offend my guests, and please keep the comments very, very respectful. I know most of you that are here already know that. Thank you very, very much for, making this the comment section a very, very safe place for people to share. Thank you, everyone. So help me to welcome my sister, and we'll call her Dupe. Hello, Dupe. You're welcome.
Hello, good evening.
Thank you very much for coming tonight.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
This means a lot to me personally, and I know that your testimony, I will call it a testimony, because God has seen you through all this that you've been through in your life, and you're here to testify today of God's goodness and what you've been through. And I know that your testimony is not just for you, it's for you, but it's also for every single one that's going to hear this stream tonight. It will help them, and it will also encourage them to know that, they are not alone. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay. So you've got the floor.
Yeah. I'll call myself Dupe, and I've been watching Obodooyinbo for a while. Actually, I only just subscribed yesterday, so I feel on top of the world. I didn't realize I could subscribe. I didn't realize how to do it. So I feel so empowered with the technology.
Thank you.
Without wasting time, I'm going to be talking about myself and my story. I have no apologies for sharing my story. It's taken me years it's taken me years to get to this stage, and it's also taking me. I'm going to play around with my age.
That's all right. Yeah.
So it's taking me over 46 years to actually stand and tell my story. I'd always been very, very careful about how I tell my story, but people who know me personally, there are certain things that do trigger me, And when I say trigger, not in a bad way, it's just there are certain topics that when they talk about, when I write about it, people who are very close to me to an extent do not understand why I'm so passionate about it, because that's how they describe me. But then it's not necessarily passion, it's more of anger,
Right.
and also me trying to protect another person
Yeah.
from going through the same.
Mm-hmm.
So without wasting our time, I'll just go through it. I'll try and freelance, and if there's anything that you think you want me to double check or maybe bring my attention back, just I'm quite happy and open to share my story. I'm not sharing it because I feel like talking. I'm sharing it because I think there's someone who would learn from me, particularly our mothers, our sisters, and I think there are quite a lot of dupe out there,
Yeah.
who would never speak up.
Yeah.
So I was born in the Western country, and my parents, my father was a doctor, a neurologist, and my mom was a clinical psychologist. They both studied in the West countries. Um, I come from, I'm originally from Nigeria, and from a very popular Nigerian family, a Southwest Nigerian family. Well, however, life was great until the edge was broken. And when I say the edge was broken, my father died. So it was tough. Not tough because my father died. It was tough because from this loving household,
Mm-hmm.
um, with the, well, I wouldn't say culture because my parents were. My father died. Again, I'll play around with his age. My father died at 34, and my mother was just 30 when he
Wow.
died.
Wow.
And my mom was lost. She was, you know, they were young lovers, and they fell in love, came to the UK together to study, and things happened and life
Yeah.
went on.
Yeah.
But at the time, of course, I've never experienced the death of a husband, but I understand the death of a father because of different milestone in the life of our kids.
Yeah.
And I kind of imagine my mom, as far as I understand, was not prepared for
Hmm.
the life that was thrown on her on August 14 when he died.
Hmm.
And as a matter of fact, he wasn't sick. There wasn't any medical condition. He
Hmm.
went to work as usual. He was actually in the hospital. He went and performed surgery for someone. Of course, he's a neurologist, so he performed the surgery. And then he came back home. And from what I understand, obviously, my mom told us later, from what I understand, my dad had come home. And back in the days in the UK, we used to have they used to have the nanny system, the foster carers, where
Yeah.
the white foster carers cared for the children of the black migrants. And so my older sister and myself, we lived with our foster carers from Monday to Friday. So you didn't need to be in the social work system for that to happen. It was just what happened at the time.
Yeah.
And so they would go over to our foster carers. And for me, my older sister, there was a big gap between the two. Well, there's a massive gap between the two of us. So she went to the foster carer was according to the age range. And because of the age gap between myself and my sister, we could not be with the same foster carer.
Yeah.
So I went to one that was younger, and it was fine. As far as I remember, it was great. But however, obviously weekends we had to come home. And so this particular weekend, I'd come home, and dad, came back from his work, and children jumped on his body and whatever. And he had eaten and everything, and then decided he wanted to sleep. So apparently I slept. Apparently he laid his head on my laps, and he never woke up again, and that was it.
Wow.
So
Wow.
again, I was young, so I wouldn't have known
Remembered.
what happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I have a very fond memory of my father because he was such he was a loving father, and I couldn't picture what he looks like. I wouldn't lie, but I mean, from what I understand, of course, I've seen his pictures and everything, and everybody keeps saying I'm a splitting image. It's just
Yeah.
I'm a female.
How old were you when your dad passed? Okay.
I was 5 when he
Okay.
passed,
Okay. Thank you.
and so at the time, of course, we lived in the West, and there was a dilemma for my mom because it wasn't they didn't plan. I think they are like everybody, a young couple, they wanted to
Yeah.
build a life in the West, and then after a while, then they go back home. My
Yeah.
father, funny enough, was quite passionate about going back home. And at that time, most people, most migrants, they would stay for a while and then go back home. In short,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of time during their age, during that time, during the 80s, I'm talking of the 80s, the 70s, the
Mm-hmm.
late 70s, 80s, they wouldn't take
Mm-hmm.
the stay. They would go back to Nigeria.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was what had happened. So I think they were planning to go back, but obviously it was aborted because of his death. And it was much after his death, I think, with the autopsy and everything, it was found that he had brain tumor. But then that's a story for another
Mm.
day. So anyway, that was what happened, and he passed. So what now happened was the state government obviously sent for, because my dad was on a scholarship to the UK at the time. So the state government apparently had sent to have his body brought back home, and it was a first. I think it was the first uh, neurologist apparently from his village. So they wanted to
Mm.
honor him at the time, and they
Mm.
took the body away, and they were the one that buried him and stuff. But while the burial, I think, casting my mind back to an extent, I remember suddenly mom and dad, and then coming back to Nigeria, the good old days, Nigeria Airways, coming back to Nigeria, and there was this massive crowd.
Mm.
And I still remember that, but I can't describe what it was like. But
Yeah.
I remembered there was a massive crowd, and in the midst of that, you know, I suppose for children at the time,
Yeah.
who probably were lost. The only person that probably recollect everything is my older sister, because she was approaching her teens when dad died.
Mm.
So, but the rest of us, obviously, we're sibling of 5. So the rest of us obviously didn't know what was going on. The baby of the house, I think, was just a year and 6 months old when that
Mm-hmm.
happened. Anyway, fast forward, the funeral is done, the cries and dance, and of course for us children, we ate and enjoyed ourselves to the fullest. The way they
Mm-hmm.
would look at the children, the way they
Mm-hmm.
would feed the child of a dead.
Yeah.
And after the funeral, obviously there was decisions to be made.
Yeah.
Mom needed to come back to the West, and because she was young, and because of her age and her stage, they didn't want her to feel lonely and also feel the death of her child. And at the time, it
Of
seems to
her
have been the
husband.
right decision.
Yeah. The death
So
of her husband.
yeah, so um, they splitted the children. So my older sister at the time, she was getting ready for high school anyway. So she went ahead to stay with my grand aunt, who she went to a boarding school, but it happens that my grand aunt lived in the city where her boarding school was.
Mm-hmm.
So she went away to boarding school, and then during the holiday, she would go to this aunt.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I was already used to my mom's younger sister, because she would always, I mean, even when we lived abroad, she used to come around. So she wasn't a stranger to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, apparently when I was born, my dad, funny enough, apparently had said she was going to be my godmother.
Okay.
So I think it was just so when the decision for her to have for me to live with her came
It was natural.
on board.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody ever contested it. Nobody
Yeah.
thought of anything of it.
And
So
this was your dad's sister,
no, my mother's sister.
your mother's sister. Okay.
Yeah. So I need to put this out quickly that myself and my siblings, we ended up living with our mother's family. So when I'm
Right.
talking of cousins, when I'm maybe in between my talk, so when I'm listing out like cousins and stuff, I'm saying it from my maternal angle, not from my paternal.
Right.
So anyway, I ended up staying with my aunt. At the time, she wasn't married, but she was getting ready to be married. And so I stayed with her and yeah, just navigated life with her. But I remembered very well the first year when I lived with her, when I started living with her. It was great. It was very, very great.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the days of treetops. I still remember that very well. The days of good sports, limca, pali
Mm-hmm.
soda stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
remember that very well. I remembered her doing the bubble hair for me. When you pack your hair into three and stuff like that, and the ribbons and stuff. I still remember that very well. I went to very good schools. I schooled in Niger Delta, and I went to very, very good schools. I have to, put that out there. And but behind, so everything was fine. I went to a very good nursery school. Things were great and stuff. And then I, in between it, I think I was going to my last, is it nursery three or nursery two, whatever it's called. So I was
Mm-hmm.
going there. And that was when she got married. That was when she was preparing for a wedding, and she got married because she couldn't get married the year her marriage was actually scheduled for the year my dad died, but because he died, because of tradition, they had to shift the wedding. They had to postpone the date, and so she got married the following year. And I think it was just, in the midst of all the sorrow, it was great to have, this merriment. And we all, the marriage came. I couldn't be the little bride because, the wound was still very fresh of my father's death and, stuff like that. So anyway, that was all done. And at the time, I remembered immediately after the wedding, then the crowd at home before the wedding, because she lived with her then fiance, which obviously they got married much a year later. The house was never crowded. It was just myself, her, and the fiance at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And everything was fine. But then after the wedding, then we began to have like people who would come into the house, and but to me it wasn't strange. There were faces I knew, but at the same time I was adjusting to, I guess I met some of them during my father's funeral, and then obviously I'd known them apparently when I was younger because they would phone. It's a big family, but a closely knitted family kind of.
Yeah.
So we did what we had to do,
Yeah.
and everything was fine. And then I remembered very well. Um, one of the night, I think I was going to my primary one, and that was the beginning of my nightmare.
Mm.
And I remember very well. I was graduating from nursery school back then.
So you moved with your aunt when she got married. You moved with her to live with her and her husband.
Yeah, I was living with her before she got married
Yes, and then you
because
continue
she was.
living with her after she got married.
Yeah. I
Okay.
continued living with her before she got married. So we'd done the graduation of the nursery school, and I remember very well that night. I couldn't remember my age. I have to be honest, but anyway, I was in a bed, and I felt a sharp I felt like a sharp pain in my
Mm.
private, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't, as a child, I just felt, oh, I peed in my bed, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And that was it. But then I knew, like, I went to the bathroom to pee, I went to the toilet to pee, but I knew the pain wasn't just, I suppose I couldn't describe it, but it was just, it wasn't penetration. Later on, I got to realize it was, I'd been fingered.
Yeah.
So, but then I was around about 6, 7.
Yeah.
So,
That's primary one age.
yeah.
Primary
So
one. Yeah.
I was walking funny because I couldn't. I'm someone that I'm quite lazy when it comes to pain. So I couldn't walk straight. But then I remembered very well that when I peed, obviously at that time, obviously I was meant to be cleaning myself in the bathroom,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and there was a slight blood, but I didn't think of anything of it. And I suppose as a child, but after then, I continued peeing on my bed,
Mm-hmm.
and that continued. And then I think I was in my primary three. Then another time I slept, and it was as if I had a dream, but I
Mm-hmm.
knew now it's not a dream anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
And
You
you
know,
never told anyone, sorry to interrupt you. When the first incident happened that you felt that sharp pain, did you tell anyone?
no, I didn't tell anybody.
Okay.
And I don't know why, to be honest, because I think, well, I suppose as a child, I wasn't thinking of anything of it,
Yeah.
you know,
You didn't know
because,
what it was. Yeah.
yes, and I didn't see anybody. So, I wouldn't have been able to make sense of it at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So, and of course, my aunt and and her husband, I call them dad and mom, mommy and daddy, and anybody that knows them till date, they still call them, they think they're Dupe's parents.
Yeah.
So, yes, so I was in my primary 3, I think. And then one of the nights, so there's this guy that was living with us. To be fair, I don't even know how we're related. But in Africa, everybody is uncle, auntie, I don't know how we're related, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I remembered very well that I woke up in the middle of the night to go and pee, and there was saliva all over my mouth area, right?
Yeah.
And I couldn't, of course, if I was slivering in my sleep, it wouldn't cover my mouth area. It would just be in the side.
Yeah.
So, but so at this time, I think if I remembered, my maternal grandmother was around.
Mm-hmm.
And so she slept because the house is a 3-bedroom. It's a 3-bedroom flat. So grandma would sleep in another room, and I slept in grandma slept in the guest room. And so I remembered that night I was going to go and pee because we just had one toilet in the apartment at the time. So I was going to go and pee, and for whatever reason, I met grandma as I came out of the room. And so grandma was like, did you come out of the room early? Why are you not sleeping? Grandmother being
Yeah.
grandmother. But
Yeah.
I didn't understand because that was my first time coming out of that room, But apparently it seems someone had come out of the room proud. So perhaps when I now opened the door to come out, she was wondering why I was coming out again, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So then she said, so you mean I remember she was like, what is in your mouth? What is it? Where did you get all these? What is this shining in your mouth?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I don't know. So I tried to clean it, and of course it was slimy.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, that was her words.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't understand as well. You understand? So I went to go and pee, washed my face, and that was it. But then then another time, again, I was in primary school, there was a bite around my breast area. But of course, I'd not had breast at the time, obviously. But there was
Mm-hmm.
bites around that area.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, my head, there's no way I would bend my head and bite myself. Like when
Mm-hmm.
I say bite, it wasn't bite. It was like, like a bite mark, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But of course, I didn't think of anything of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, to me, I just felt, there must be something all right with me. What is this?
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a misery. So it now became, unfortunately, sleeping now became a nightmare for me
Mm-hmm.
because,
Bad things always happen when you sleep and you wake up and you see things that you don't understand.
exactly. So that went on. And then, so I now became hyper alert when I sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, till today, my sleep is messed up till date.
Mm-hmm.
If I sleep and there's a pin that drop, and I'm not making this up, I will get up. I'm
Mm-hmm.
so hyperactive.
You're alert when you are sleeping. Yeah. You sleep with
Yes.
one eye open.
And I don't even know how to describe it because I don't, it's just something that I grew up doing. And so this continued for like good few times until I was 10 and I was getting ready to go to high school. And then, of course, there was this debate because I wanted to go to boarding school, and my aunt was like, "No, you can't go to boarding school. Uh, you that your mouth is too sharp. That kind of whatever."
Mm. Mm.
But for me, I wanted to go to boarding school because at the time that was what all my mates were doing. I wanted to go to boarding school. So I couldn't understand why, because I passed my exams, like it wasn't like I was behind and stuff. Then she started having children at the time. So I
Mm-hmm.
was doing my house chores and stuff. And those marks and those bites and those misery, saliva, stuff just keep happening,
Mm-hmm.
irrespective.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously I became more curious. And along the line, I was already in my GS1, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And so this particular night, my auntie, she's quite religious. Well, I don't know. Anyway, she's quite religious. And so she would go to church and, this, whatever she does. And
Mm-hmm.
this particular night, I was in the house. I think she already had a third baby then.
Mm-hmm.
And we would, we were all in the house. She had gone to the church program and her mother-in-law was around. The mother-in-law would come and look after the kids and stuff. So she was around anyway. And so this particular night, I was trying to help soothe the baby to bed. And I think whoever it is thought I'd slept as usual.
Mm-hmm.
And this time around, so I felt again, as this thing I still haven't developed. Obviously, I've not approached puberty at this time.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was in the living room because I'd backed the
The
child.
baby. The baby.
Yeah, so I backed the baby and I was in the living room. So I kind of so the baby was on my back and I put my chest to the sofa. And then obviously fell asleep. And then this person came and the hand went straight into my dress.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I jumped up and grabbed the hand.
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, the person I saw, I couldn't believe my eyes.
Mm-hmm. Who
It
was
was a
it?
man. It was a man I called Dad, my
Hmm.
auntie's husband.
Yes. Okay.
And then he said to me, "If you open your mouth, I will deal with you."
Hmm.
I was to say I was shocked was an understatement.
Mm-hmm. He was threatening you the minute you
Yeah,
caught him.
yeah. And then
Mm-hmm.
my head was spinning because I was trying to make sense of
What's
so
happening? Yeah. Finally,
this,
it's like, okay,
this is what
this
it
thing has
is.
been happening. I never knew. This
Yeah.
has been going on for like 5 years now.
Yeah.
Finally, you caught him in the act.
So my head was spinning, I was like I can't describe how even now, like I can actually feel ghost pimples. So sorry. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Please take all the time you need. It's okay. We know this is something that's a trauma that never goes away. I mean, it's take all the time you need, please, sis. You are so brave, and we really celebrate you for having the courage to be able to speak out so many years after. It's not an easy thing. And what you are doing today, I just want to encourage you to know that there are so many people out there who've been through this. I mean, I had a conversation earlier before we came on, and this lady was telling me I was abused as a child when I was the same age as Dupe, and I've got bipolar today. And I'm like, oh, wow, I couldn't believe it. So you are not alone.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You don't need to apologize, please.
So sorry, I'm so yeah. Okay. So yeah, I I saw So and I said to him, I was like, why? I remember that was just all I could say. I was like, why?
Mm-hmm.
But at this time, my head was big, like Orimi Tobi.
Hmm.
I just could not wrap my head round.
Mm-hmm.
Like I called him father,
Yeah.
I called him dad.
Mm-hmm.
My graduation picture in nursery school, he was there. He's the father.
Mm-hmm.
This is someone that my father met before he died.
Mm-hmm.
I just could not, like everything was just going through my head, my little head at the time.
Yeah.
And so I think so. My auntie obviously had gone to our church. So by the time she came back, I think he kind of preempted that I might. It's possible I would speak to her about it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So what he did was he got his wife in the house. I don't know whatever happened in the room, and then she came out and she said, "So you are rude to my husband."
Mhm. He's already judged for, he's already told her things so that in case you now go and tell her, his own story will come first. You are the child, they are the adults. Yeah.
So it was like, "So you are rude to my husband."
Mm-hmm.
And before I could even say Jack, like I didn't, like I was even trying to understand what the hell she was, sorry, like what she was saying.
Yeah.
And then thing I received a dirty
Slap.
slap.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then obviously I was punished.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't make out why I was being punished. I couldn't make out what it was.
Yeah.
As if that was not enough, then I got beaten. And I
Yeah.
thought,
What have
what
I
is all
done?
this?
What have I done?
You know? And then, so after all of that, she didn't even ask me, so I
You
was,
don't even know why. You
like
just know you
I was
caught
just
him, and the next
furious.
thing you are being punished. Yeah.
I was furious. And so I think the following day or so, my grandmom, because my grandmom does pop in now and again. When I say my grandma, I'm talking of my
Your
my
maternal grandmother.
maternal.
Yeah.
So she popped in, she came around, and I remembered, they sat her down again. I think I'd gone to school. By the time I came back, they had told that stuff. So my grandmom came, she called me and she was like, why did you do this to daddy? Because of course, I call him daddy now. So she just says daddy.
Mm-hmm.
This to daddy. I couldn't, I was confused. And I think my grandmom could pick up that perhaps I was confused. Grandmothers, they always have that intuition.
Yeah.
So she was even as confused as me because I was actually confused. And she said, "Do you want to tell me what happened?" Of course, you're even telling me I'm rude. I don't even know why I'm rude in the first place.
Yeah.
I don't even know what led to the story of you are rude.
Yeah.
So grandmom asked me and I said, I don't know. And then my auntie just came and she was like, she wouldn't know. This is how she's so rude to my husband. She just went ballistic.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, what do I do? So I calmed down and yeah, I just continued. So I went to school. Of course, I was a day student because my school was a mixture of day and boarding. So I went back to school. I couldn't speak. I couldn't tell anybody. I felt dirty.
Yeah.
I felt I felt let
Violated.
down. I felt
Yeah.
irritated. Like all my I couldn't even describe all my emotions.
Yeah.
And that went on. And then next thing, I didn't realize that was a beginning of my reality.
Hmm. It got worse.
Yeah. And it just, the person I caught was daddy. I didn't realize that it was beyond daddy.
It's not daddy alone.
He wasn't. So another time, because my auntie, because she's into all this church, whatever they do. So another time she went to church again, and she was away for like few days. And so we were in the house, myself, the housemaid. The housemaid, they are never bothered. We changed housemaid like rapper. And I suppose in short, I didn't even understand why. But later
Yeah.
on, I was able
Yeah.
to understand.
They were being abused. That's why they were leaving.
And the housemaid, it was normal for them because remember, they are being paid. So it just became normal. The ones that stayed longer were the ones that enjoyed whatever they were doing, and of course they got paid. They get tips for it. So this particular night, I was sleeping again, and this uncle, I will call him Uncle D. He came into the house, and I don't know how we're related. He came into my bed. It was a bunker bed.
Mm-hmm.
He came into my bed and he brought out his pee,
Mm-hmm.
and just so I was trying to stick it into my mouth,
Hmm.
like it was already slimy,
Hmm.
And of course, of course, I woke up and I was like, uncle.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, so I got up. Of course, I was scared. I got up, and there's someone that used to take me to school when I was in nursery school.
Hmm.
So I got up and obviously went to the sitting room. In the sitting room, I was waiting. In the sitting room was another pedophile waiting for me.
Hmm.
So went to the sitting room. Daddy was seated. He had his PJ on, but with his dressing gown, and he said, "Come and sit."
What age are you at this time now that
I
the
was
uncle
already,
tried?
I was, I was
You're
already
in
in,
secondary school.
yeah, in GS2 at the
Okay.
time,
So around maybe 12 years old, 12, 13,
11, round about
11,
11. Yeah,
11.
I
Okay.
went to high school early,
Okay.
so yeah, and then that became my ordeal. So then I had another cousin. This one was actually my grandmother's sister's child. So he would come around. He too was another one. So basically, my life was circled around those people,
Hmm.
you know. And then we also had another neighbor who would come around. They would come around, and I was always getting into trouble because every time I refused to do whatever they wanted to do, or when I challenged them or try and hit them, I would get the beating of my life. That I was rude. I was a liar. I was,
Yeah.
my auntie too fed into it big time.
Yeah.
She became quite vicious. I
Yeah. She
suppose.
probably knew about it. Somebody in the comment section was saying that there's no way your auntie's husband was leaving her bed at night that she didn't know. Some
Yeah.
some aunties and mothers know and they turn a blind eye. Yeah,
And
it
so
happens.
this continued until I was in my SS1, and I thought to myself, no, I'm going to confront this woman and tell her what is going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I confronted her and I said, "Mommy, this is what Daddy did." No, at this time, actually, what made me decide to speak to her was, at this time I started growing literally to whatever my chest.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the days, Daddy came in. No, actually, I went to go and clean mom. I went to go and clean their room, and he grabbed me from behind, and he was like, Mommy is not in now. I need to suck your breast.
Hmm.
There was nowhere to go. I couldn't escape it.
Hmm.
After much battling, I mean, I still have the mark on my body.
Hmm.
After much battling and everything, I had to give in. And, he did what he did. And I felt so disgusted.
Of course.
But hey, that was life.
Hmm.
So in between all of this, so anyway, when mommy came, I told her and I said, this was what Daddy did. And she said, come on, shut up.
You told her, you confronted your auntie for the first
Yeah,
time. This is
yeah,
supposed to be your mom that you've
yeah.
been living with since you were 5. And she said, shut up.
She said, come on, shut up. And that was it.
So she
And
knew.
and then, but one thing she did, sorry, I missed a part. So when I started living with her, I'd initially, up until I finished my nursery, my mom would come around. At this time, my mom had come back to live in Nigeria, but she was living in a different city from us because she was obviously trying to find her feet and everything. So when she comes around, it was fine. I would go out with her. But as soon as I finished my nursery school, my auntie ensured. No, I remember. No, there was one day my mom had come around, and I think, if I remember very well, I think something happened. I can't remember what happened. I think it was one of the days that I found
Yeah.
something on my body. So
Yeah.
I'd said to my mom, and my mom was like, no, no, I was walking funny. Yeah, that was what it was. I was walking funny. And she said, what's wrong with you? And I said, I don't know. It's like something is peppering my bum,
Hmm.
And my mom was like, what kind of thing is this? And I remember very well, my mom now bat for me, you
Yeah.
know. And
Yeah.
she and I remember her checking me and everything, but of course there wasn't penetration, you understand? So
Okay.
she wouldn't have been able to find anything. You get what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And then she was like, is it that you towel, like when you're using the towel, as you don't use towel, you don't rub your private like that. Because she couldn't, of course, I didn't know what had happened. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And she baked for me and everything. And then she said, I think she confronted my aunt about it
Mm-hmm.
and said, I think, but it was more from the place of don't let her be batting for herself. You're still meant to be batting for, that kind of a thing. So my auntie obviously got furious, and I remembered after that visit, my aunt was like, "Next time when your mother comes here, if you open your mouth and talk again, I will kill you."
Hey.
So I was like,
Oh,
"That's on board," and that was it.
Olodumare.
So when my mom comes around, obviously I was always in my best
Best
behavior.
behavior.
You understand?
You show your good side as if everything is sweet.
Yeah, and so everything was going on. My grandmom. Then I think when I was already in, So coming back again to that story of uh, dad sucking my breast. Of course, it's not my father, but then So I remembered I called my grand. My grandmom came around after that scenario, and I said, "Grandma, I want to go back to my mom." And she said, "No, now you have to finish school and everything." I said, "Yes." I said, "But I don't really like here." And she said, are they suffering you?" I said, "I just don't want to stay."
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So grandma kept wondering, what is wrong? What is wrong now? And I said, "I just don't want to stay. I just don't want to stay." So when she kept going on and on, I said, "Me, I don't like the way daddy touches me." My grandmother lost it with my aunts.
Mm-hmm.
Like lost it with my aunts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what she told her. I don't know what it was. But what I know is as soon as my grandmom left that day,
Mm-hmm.
I was stripped naked, beaten. In short, I can't describe the beating.
That's your auntie doing this now that you call
Yeah.
mom.
And my aunt and her husband.
Mm-hmm.
I was beaten stark naked, like proper naked.
Hmm.
And so what I now decided to do was I just shut off.
No need to tell because the more you tell, the more you get abused physically by your
So
auntie. She was in on it. She knew.
so that became a pattern. It went on. I couldn't have my uncle or the husband, whatever, daddy or whatever he calls himself. He wouldn't let me have friends. And unfortunately, me, I didn't even have female friends. All my
Was
friends
it
were
the
all
one? Somebody was asking in the comment section that when you wanted to go to boarding school, he must have been the one that didn't want you to leave because you were their plaything. You were like a toy in their hands.
most likely because that conversation, my auntie and the husband would have this conversation in the room.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just be instructed, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. There's no
So
involvement, no asking you what you want.
no,
It's just
no,
handing you decrees and orders.
no. So that went on, and I had friends, and we talk, but obviously I couldn't tell my friends. And for me, I didn't even. I knew to look after my body, but I refused to.
Yeah.
I obviously I just didn't find myself. I didn't want to make myself attractive because
Yeah. Yeah. You
I felt
didn't feel
dirty.
worthy. Yeah. You didn't feel worthy.
I felt
Yeah.
dirty,
Mm-hmm.
and naturally I'm a child that will speak up. But then I just thought, you know what? Whether I speak up or not, they're even going to beat me anyway, so I might as well just do it. So I didn't have boyfriends. I never had. In short, I think my first boyfriend was when I was 18. I didn't have boyfriend, but I had male friends, and luckily for me, I'm this child who, they describe as a fickle. So
Mm-hmm.
I channel my energy into reading. Reading became my safety net.
Yeah.
Acquiring knowledge became my
Knowledge.
safety net.
Yeah.
Then obviously, anytime I'm leaving the house, I'm over the moon. I so love leaving the house environment because leaving the house was my safe haven. So back and forward with all of these guys, my cousin, I had two cousins, um, a couple of neighbors who were close, so-called close family friend, but obviously a ring of pedophiles. In total, there were 12 of them.
My goodness. Only you.
Yeah. So this went on non-stop in the household.
Oh,
And then I also remember very well, anytime I had my period, I would be beaten for having my period.
oh,
And I mean, aside from I had physical abuse with her, with my aunt, because she wasn't kind to me either. And I think the abusers obviously preyed on it because she was quite a nasty piece of work, or she is a nasty piece of work. So they preyed on that, and there's this thing about protective factor. These guys will look around. They
yeah,
look at who the protective factor. What is the relationship between them?
yeah,
So they saw that my auntie obviously had, for whatever reason, I don't know what it is. There's this hatred for what's the name, for my mom, and it was
yeah.
interesting because she didn't even have half of my mom didn't even have
It's
half of what she
jealousy.
had.
Jealousy.
You
It's
know,
that sibling rivalry between them there
yeah.
going on. Yeah.
So they had all of that, and I was just lucky to be a child who is quite brilliant because I don't know how I pulled through. To be honest, I don't know how I pulled through, and so that went on, and at a point I used to get bleach. Like when I want to shower, I would get bleach to wash my body.
Who will give? They will give you bleach, or you take the
No,
bleach yourself
no, I was getting bleach myself.
because you felt dirty.
I would get Dettol. I self-harm. I still have marks of self-harming.
My God.
I would cut myself because I felt, what do I like? Maybe if I do something, because I worked out that when I started having my period, unfortunately, I didn't have my period on time. I
Yeah.
think I didn't start having my period until I was 14,
Hmm.
and I left high school at 16. So, and I already knew with my grandmom, because my grandma, every time I said I wanted to leave, she would say, "Just finish your high school and you can leave." So I was quite glad, knowing I had just 2 years more to go. And so I worked out that every time I was in my period, obviously they couldn't touch my private. So they would concentrate on my breast. And, there are times my auntie will be in the room sleeping. To be fair, there are times that they've drugged her, in fairness.
They were drugging her.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Because
So,
I became older. Because
mhm,
remember, I'd grown into my teens.
yeah.
I think to an extent, she might know. I mean, I'm not making excuses for her. She might know, but I don't think she knows to the extent of how
But
bad
you
it was.
told her, Dupe, you
Yeah.
told her,
Yeah.
and she told you to shut up. You
Yeah.
told her.
So,
So we cannot say she was innocent. You told her.
no, I'm not making that she's innocent. I'm just saying she probably didn't. I mean, I don't know. I can't speak for her. So at this stage, I worked out that every time I had cuts on my body, like if I have blood, because I just attributed it to, okay, when I have my period,
They will leave you
definitely
alone.
they'll leave me alone. So what they just do was, they'll pull my breast. Like, these were people I was living in the house with.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll pull my breast, or, and some of these guys even had mouth odor. Oh, God. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah. And that went on. And so every time I would have marks on my body, because I assumed that, when I have blood on my body, then they
They will
would
leave
back up
you.
me,
Yeah.
you know. So I said, like, I would pierce. Sometimes I would use blade just to cut my breast area, so that they wouldn't, like, they would see blood there, if you know what I mean.
Hey, God,
It
was that
didn't
not
work.
painful? Was that not painful?
But at this stage, you need to realize I didn't care about the pain. I just wanted them to leave me alone, you know. So yes, yeah, that went on, and obviously I got beaten when I don't cooperate, and then uncle would lie against me. Oh, she's not. She went to go and stay with boyfriend. She did this, but it was all. I mean, my auntie knew. She knew that it was all lies. But yeah,
She chose to
and
believe it.
yeah, And of course, I got beaten. So I just, beating was like a normal thing for me. I didn't even mind because I started enjoying the pains.
Hmm. Oh.
And then obviously fast forward, when I was 16, when I left the house after my high school. I was supposed to stay and go to uni, but I didn't want to stay. I just wanted to leave. So I left and obviously moved back to my mom. Now, like I said, I always have male friends, not
Was your
male
was
friends.
your mom now in Nigeria at that time, or she was still
Yeah,
living
yeah.
in,
Oh,
in
she
the
had come back
UK?
to Nigeria. She'd come. I was my GS2 when she came back to Nigeria to live in Nigeria finally.
And she didn't take you to live with her?
To be fair, she wouldn't have been able to do that because she was just settling in, like you're just trying to settle into the country and everything. And I suppose on the surface, I was settled in where I was living on the
So she
surface.
just left you. Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
But she also knew, like sometimes when I say, oh, I want to come and stay with you, she'll say, finish your high school. I don't want to disrupt your high school, which was fair enough. You understand? But to be fair, I didn't tell her why I wanted to come and stay with her.
Did you ever tell her?
I have to be honest, I wasn't bold enough.
You never
'Cause
told your mom?
I just felt that would break her. I just felt that would break her.
You never told your mom to date?
No. Well, she's passed. I
Your
never
mom
told
is
her.
passed. Your
Oh
mom
yeah,
is
I
passed
never told
now.
her. I never told her.
Oh, so
As a matter of
sorry.
fact, I told my older sister 2 years ago. My
Oh
older
my
sister was
God.
broken, like broken.
Oh, you know what? As you are narrating your story, some people that have been through abuses, they are being triggered. And I just seen a comment. Somebody say, I have to log off now. I'm sorry, I have to log off because your story is a lot of people can resonate with it. Like, oh my God, you never even got to tell your mom and she's gone now.
No, but not telling my mom was something I did deliberately. I just didn't want her to be broken.
Were you even thinking of yourself? It's like you were
No,
even
no, no,
thinking
no.
about the adults, like,
Unfortunately, that became a protective factor for me where I don't think of myself.
Wow.
I started, I will always think of everybody. But
Okay, let's fast forward, Dupe, because of time. How did
yeah,
you escape from this nest of uncles, so-called daddies, people that you were living with that made your life a living hell? How did
like
you
I
escape?
said, obviously when I finished my high school, it was just an automatic thing. When I finished my high school, because my grandma has always said, once you finish your high school, you can go back to your mom. So of course, when I was getting ready to do so I'd done my WAEC at the time. It was WAEC they used to call it, I think. Yeah, WAEC.
Yes, it's like, yeah.
And then you have to do your GC. If you don't pass WAEC, you do GC. But you remember at the time you wouldn't have gotten your WAEC result before you get your GC, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I'd registered for my GC, did my GC and WAEC at the time. And obviously, as soon as I finished my GC, I just packed my bag and I was like, I'm going to my mom. In
Okay.
short, I don't know where I got that boldness from.
Hmm.
But I packed my bag, and unfortunately, one of my cousins came around, and I got said to him, and I got said to him, I said, we're going to where mom lives. I'm following you today. I'm not this house. I am not sleeping in this house tonight.
Right.
That my cousin could not make up. In short, that my cousin could not get his head around it because he didn't understand.
Yeah.
And this my cousin like comes to our place now and again. But
Yeah.
obviously, like, he didn't, because the thing is, we lived in a big house, in a fancy house, in a very good area in Lagos.
Hmm.
So
They
you
couldn't, he will not understand the
know,
horror of your life. Yeah.
so because I was adamant, in short, I remember my auntie was like, let me buy a ticket. I said, no, I don't want ticket. I'm going. I don't care. I'm just going. I'm not staying tonight.
Hmm.
So we had to leave. And that was how I went back to my mom.
Okay. Let me ask you,
Yeah.
Dupe, did you
Yeah.
ever confront these people that abused you?
Okay. I'll give you the twist to it. So when I was 18, I met my boyfriend and obviously fell pregnant. And I didn't realize I was pregnant. I think I was I was going to have my baby in 2 weeks time, 2 weeks to his birth. That was when I realized I was pregnant.
You didn't even know for 9 months that you were
No,
pregnant.
no.
Oh my
I was
God.
seeing my period,
Oh
I
my
didn't vomit
gosh.
like they say people will vomit and all the stunts. Anyway,
Nothing.
so I went to in short, I took myself to the hospital that, I don't know, my tummy was jagging me. Me, I didn't know baby was moving. You know?
Sorry for laughing, but this is just
No,
so
it's
funny.
fine.
This is you
So,
so naive. After everything
yeah,
you've been through, you were
so,
pregnant and you didn't even know.
so I took myself to the hospital, and of
Hmm.
course, I was our family doctor. So I went there and I explained to him, and I think the man just looked at me because my tummy wasn't big. Well, my tummy has always been big. Like, my tummy has always been a big tummy, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So
Are you physically a big girl?
yes, but even when I was slimmer, my tummy has always been big
I
anyway.
see. I see.
You
Yeah, I'm
know.
like that too. Yeah, I'm like that
So
too.
that was how the doctor said, "Oh, okay, let's scan." Of course, he wasn't thinking of pregnancy, if you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
then he checked me and he said, your tummy is hard. And I said, yes. I don't even know why it's hard. Anyway, he did scan and he said, can you see that thing moving? I said, oh, is that ulcer? And he said, yes. He said, yes, yes. It's
You see
ulcer.
whether it's osa. Osa is moving in your belly.
I said,
Oh,
yeah.
bless
And he
you.
said, yes, it is
Bless
ulcer.
your sweet innocence. Bless you,
And he
Dupe.
said, so he said,
Hmm. He's
okay.
a baby. He's a baby.
And he said, it's ulcer. Don't worry, it's ulcer. Is Lady J at home? I said, yes, she's at home. He said, okay. I will phone her. And you know the Nigerian thing, there's no confidentiality. They will
Yes,
phone your
so they will
parents.
just give your information out without your consent.
So that was that.
Oh.
He phoned my mom, and yeah, so that was that. So anyway, we got back home. So when I got home, my mom was waiting for this osa of a child that was in my tummy, and that was
Oh.
that. So anyway, fast forward, my mom obviously was upset I was pregnant.
Mhm.
Told my grandmom, and then she now told my aunt.
Mhm.
And to be honest, my mom has never seen me react about my aunt because what happened? Sorry, before I say this was what happened was see when I got back to my mom, I don't talk about my aunt. Like I blanked her off.
Hmm.
Any conversation about her, I blank it off.
Hmm.
So my mom spoke to my aunt. She had said to my aunt, and my aunt had. Then she said, "Oh, your mommy is going to call." She still calls her my mom, and she said, your mommy is going to call you." So when she said that, the beast in
The
me
anger. After everything they've
was
done to
rising.
you, she had the guts to still meddle in your life.
You
Hey.
understand? So she picked up the phone.
Mhm.
In those days, it's not mobile phone now. It's those
Yeah, yeah.
round
Analog.
call. So
Analog phone.
she
Yeah.
phoned, and I went over, picked up the phone. She was the one, and then she was like, "Dupe, you are pregnant." At first I went quiet.
Mhm.
And she started talking, and I said, I just used the B word for her. I
Mhm.
was like, "You of all people,
Mhm.
who are you?"
Mhm.
I totally, to be fair, my mom had to get the phone off me. But my mom did not understand the level of my anger. She didn't understand why the sudden outburst.
Yeah.
Because my grandmom spoke to me. You know those Yoruba families now? My
Mhm.
grandmom spoke to me like I wasn't angry. I was actually apologizing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But here's this lady who is meant to be someone I lived with.
Somebody that is supposed to protect you.
You understand? And she spoke to, so my mom could not understand why I wasn't even apologizing to her. Like I literally, in short, I told her what I thought about her.
Yeah, you went ballistic about time.
You
Mhm.
understand? So my
Yeah.
mom did not understand why I went from 0 to 1,000 within a
Yeah.
second.
Yeah.
You know, and so my mom obviously took the phone off me, and she was like, "No, no, she didn't think. She knew it wasn't her husband. No,
Oh, she didn't think it was her husband.
no,
Okay, because
no,
at
no.
that time
Because I'd
you've
left
left
the
their
house
house.
over a
Okay.
year and 2 months. No,
Okay.
she
Okay.
knew it. No.
Yeah.
So so obviously my mom kind of, so my mom obviously, for whatever reason, she decided to tread carefully
Mm-hmm.
because she
Haven't not
couldn't.
seen you like that before. This is
Yeah,
Dupe. That is,
mm,
you've never said anything. You've just been yourself, and all of a sudden you are so rude to this woman that raised you. There must
you
be a
know.
reason.
So my mom, like she'll come and ask me. In fairness, she came to my room. She was like, what is wrong?
Mm-hmm.
And I just told her, I said, Mom, you don't even want to know. Just leave me. You and your sister,
Alone.
just leave me alone.
Hmm.
Like I don't even want. Just leave me alone.
Hmm.
And she would, mothers now, she would keep taunting, and I was like, look, woman, if you don't leave me alone, I will leave your house.
Hmm.
Because at that time I was getting ready to go to uni. I was going to uni that October,
Mm-hmm.
So I think to an extent they also had to tread carefully with me because I could decide I had my British passport with me. So I could either decide to pretend I'm going to uni and then run to the UK. And my mom, obviously, I'd only just stayed with her for like a year and 2 months. I think obviously she wanted to also build a relationship with me as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Because you're also a stranger to your mom. You
You
never
know,
knew her. The last time you lived with her was when your dad was alive. So your mom is
yeah.
practically a stranger.
So I was furious. And then my mom was like, hey, boy, every time I mention it, why are you always like this when I call this lady's name? What is your problem?
Uh-huh.
And
She's a
I said,
trigger for you.
and I said to her, I said, look, and remember, my mom is a clinical psychologist.
Mm-hmm.
So then she said to me, she said, look, you can't keep doing this. You need to tell me what is it. And I
Mm-hmm.
just told her, just leave me. Just leave me alone.
Hmm.
Obviously, we're always on each other's throat. And then that went, and then suddenly, I think after I had my child, she came around.
Did you have the child in your mom's house?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She came
Okay.
around, and I remembered the father of my child.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, I that's another topic for another day because that's quite a
Yeah,
long
that's
thing.
your 18-year-old boyfriend now. Your
Yeah,
boyfriend when you were
yeah.
18.
He
Yeah.
was already in the
Yeah.
uni. Yeah.
Yeah. So your aunt came
So
around when you had the baby.
yeah, so she came around and she opened her mouth. Herself and the husband, they were advising.
Mm-hmm.
They were- I can't
Chai.
even. I can't describe how I was like. I can't describe it. I really can't describe it.
Sometimes I have a problem with this Yoruba culture of respecting elders. Honestly, I do have a
You know.
problem with it.
So she started talking. The husband was talking. She was talking. And I sat there. I don't know if you've ever seen evil look before. Like my, even me, I knew that what I was doing was pure evil. And everything they were saying, to be honest, I can't even tell you what it was because it was just flying out of my ears. I wasn't even retaining
You
it.
blanked out. You blanked out.
So when they left, I think whatever they were saying, they stood up and then they left. I can't
Imagine
tell
the
you,
abuser had the courage to come. He had the guts to come and advise you because you are the wayward teenager that got pregnant at 18.
you
Not
know,
forgetting what he did to you as a child, as a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, up to the time you lived in their house for 6, 7, 10 years, and this carried on.
and
And he
the
got.
interesting thing. So one
Mhm,
thing that now struck my mom was as soon as they left,
mhm.
I went and got Dettol. You know what? Nigerian Dettol is quite a strong, concentrated one.
Yes.
I went and got Dettol and I poured it on the chair. Like I was like a demon.
Hmm.
I emptied it on the chair
Hmm.
that they sat on the sofa that they sat
To,
on.
to wash them out, like cleaning them out of
And
your
like I
life.
was just scrubbing with the hard brush, the Nigerian hard brush.
Hmm.
I was scrubbing. That chair actually got destroyed, obviously, because I was scrubbing. It was a little chair. I was
Hmm.
scrubbing it.
Hmm.
And my mom was like, Kilele. Like she's never seen me like that.
Hmm.
And then obviously she booked me to go see a psychologist.
Finally, she clocked, like my children will say. She
You
clocked
know,
that there's something wrong that you are not telling her.
she booked me to go see a psychologist, and I think that was a wrong move for me
Hmm.
because went to see the psychologist, and I'm not being rude. I don't know if they've changed now, but The way the lady was asking me question, in short, I was just looking at her as in, who the hell are you?
Mm-hmm. Well,
Like,
what do you mean the way she was asking you questions? Was she being
wasn't
judgmental? She
no.
wasn't understanding. She didn't allow you to
She
tell your
was talking
story.
to me like someone that my brain was upside down.
Okay.
It's like when you're talking to a mad person. That was the way she was
Mm-hmm.
talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then at a point she said to me, she said, your own level of madness high. And I remembered standing up. My son was I think he was just 3 months old. And I remembered,
The
I
psychologist said that
and I
that your own
remembered,
level of madness is high.
yeah, because
Where are these
like,
people for train, I beg? Where they for train?
so that was how my son, I held on to him and I just reached out for her and I jacked her blouse.
That's the psychologist.
Yeah.
You the big
You know,
psychologist.
I was I
Oh,
can't
Dupe.
describe the level of anger.
Yes, of course.
You
It's
know,
built up. Built up.
so I just, and I said, and I just told the woman, I said, never you in your life call me a mad person.
So they thought you were mad.
You
That's their
know,
own explanation of your behavior.
well, and then I came out, I went back home, and apparently she had phoned my mom to tell my mom, Ogidi Wirilili.
Take her to church. She needs deliverance.
But my mom, she was a Catholic, so she wasn't into all this, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I got back home, and then my mom, so to be fair, my mom knew something was not right.
Mm-hmm.
Because I became like natural. Me and you we spoken now. I'm quite someone that would chat and stuff.
I know. Yeah, I know.
But
I know.
I just close up. Like I'm just closed up.
Yeah, that's the first thing that a lot of my subscribers here picked up on. They said you are so articulate. I had to tell, I don't know if you saw it in the comment section. I told them, I said, this lady, she's got 3 master's degrees, so don't think he's one market woman here. No offense to market women. This is an intelligent, highly educated, a professional woman. So please, I had to just tell them, I gave them that information on my comment section so they know, because I know who you are.
Yeah. So so my mom obviously will come to me, at night, the typical Nigerian mother. Call me, please
Call me.
talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, when I'm ready. But the truth was I was never ready.
Mm-mm.
I found solace because, and I think one of the things that really got me never to, like, that didn't really give me the boldness to speak to my mom about it was my mom adored her sister. They were the only sibling. She adored her sister.
So you wanted to preserve that relationship
Yeah.
against everything that you felt.
I
How
remember.
violated these people make you feel. They
Yeah.
made you, they took advantage of you, they violated you, they abused you, but you were still willing to sacrifice all that pain just to preserve their relationship.
Yeah. So my mom, I was always mindful of the fact that that's our only sibling. For me, I have other siblings, I could reach out to. But in our own case, she was just herself and her sister. And I didn't want to rob her of that relationship because I knew the kind of person my mom was, my mom would react.
Yeah. A lot of people in the comment section are saying that your mom was too trusty of her sister.
Yeah, she was trusting, but I mean, siblings, I didn't help, to be fair. I
Yeah.
didn't help.
Yeah, because you didn't. Yeah. Okay.
So I went on, and my mom, she would, and of course, sometimes when my auntie would call, my mom would, I mean, on a few occasions I've caught my mom when she goes angry with our sister, she would say, I gave you a daughter, I gave you a child that had confidence, and you brought me back, and you sent back a broken child to me. I don't know what you have done to my child, but I tell you, you will never go scot-free. And I just wasn't bold. I have to be honest. That was just a weakness for me. I wasn't bold.
No,
to
that's
tell
okay.
her.
With everything you've been through, we completely understand, sis.
And I kept on. But there was one thing my mom noticed that, when they talk about. So there was one time in where we lived when I was with my mom, because my mom had lived in the north. So there was one time I think somebody, I think it was a gate man, had violated a girl, and my sister, I literally left the house, went and met the gate man. I beat Chris, come on for the man head.
Because that little girl was you now.
You
And
know,
I, and I tell a lot of people that the issue of Baba Ijesha and that little girl that was molested by Baba Ijesha when she was 7 is not just about Princess or Iyabo Ojo or that little girl. It's about every little girl, every child, male or female, that has been violated, that has been abused in Nigeria. This is their story, and that's why we need justice. We need
yeah.
justice.
So I reached out. I remember reaching out to the gate man. Like I have no business with them. They're not even on the street or anything. I just, like I heard about it, and I went there. And like I'm just so in my neighborhood. Obviously, when I was living with my mom, my neighbors, obviously, if they ever see this video, they'll be wondering because my neighborhood, like I don't talk to anybody. I
Yeah.
just blank everybody out. So there was this thing about this girl must be evil.
She's demon.
She
She's
just
possessed.
she just looks at people. Like she doesn't communicate with anybody. Because I just closed myself out. So they couldn't understand. And then over time, obviously, I went ahead, graduated from uni, and then got a job. And yeah, so life went on. And I always used education or acquiring knowledge.
Yeah, as a
To,
protective factor.
yeah.
Okay.
To,
Now,
yeah.
go on.
So I always use it as a protective factor. And also I use it to erase thought. Well, that's what I thought. But that's not what the reality is.
Okay. I want to jump quickly because of time.
Yeah.
So now you are a professional woman. You got 3 master's degree. You're doing so well. You are very, very independent. And I tell you, I'm not going to lie to you, Dupe, because since the issue of Baba Ejisha, it's like I say it on this channel, but it's true. It's like there's the lead has been opened on child sexual molestation and abuse in Nigeria. A lot of people are coming forward now. Those who are still dealing with it can, approach people and say, this is what happened to me. People that were not able to speak for years can now say, this is what happened to me. So you are here today now. Let's get to how you've been able to overcome and to arrive at where you are today as a very strong, independent, woman who's, you've got your life together, you've got so much going on for you and your life, even though with the pain and trauma and everything that happened to you in your childhood, you are still here today and you're able to come on this show tonight to testify.
So I think how I got to where I am, I can't even describe it myself. I think the first thing was I'm someone that hates to be a failure. And when I say failure, I use it in a very generic way, right? In the sense that, so remember, I was abused.
Yeah.
And aside from being abused, apart from the fact that the husband used me as
his toy,
apart from the fact that I was in the midst of 12 pedophiles, I was also being physically abused by my aunt.
Yeah.
And being verbally and emotionally abused by her. Like she would tell me, not le shorire. Sorry for those who don't. I don't know how to.
No. Go on. I will interpret for them. It's okay. Tell us because you know what? Yeah. Actually, you didn't know this before, Dupe. You didn't know this, but we talked about it when we were talking about mothers the other day. I did a video. I did a live stream. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. We were talking about mothers, and this is one of the things that we talked about women that cost the children that are in their care. Mothers. Le shorire, olori buruku. Yeah. So please. Talk about it. We want to hear.
Yeah, so she would say to me, in the midst of all those, those abuse was the sexual abuse, all those ones was even, it was like minor out of the other orishirishi that was going on.
Yeah.
So she would say to me, le shoriri. So long as Timo Walaye say, le shoriri. And she would say it to me, and I suck it in. And I remember you, my little self, I would say to myself, I will get somewhere. But I would just
Hmm.
say it for the fun of saying it, you understand? It's not like I knew what I
Hey,
was saying.
hey.
And then like she would say to me, she wasn't kind with her words. She
No,
wasn't
she's
kind at all.
no, this woman, nobody would
You know?
describe her in anything close to kind. She's
And
evil.
sometimes she will use the words like you no matter whatever you do. So okay, I tell you what, everybody that stayed with her, because we quite had few people, there were quite a good number of us that were living in the
Living with
house.
her. Yeah.
But one thing I noticed is everybody that lived with her, they always come back.
Hmm.
Again, that's a story for another day. They always come back. So for
Was she like
me,
that with her children when she started having children? Because you were with her when she started having you've been with her from when she was
all our
single.
children, I
She
was
got
there.
married. Was she
Yeah.
saying to her children, "Pay oh le shori ire as long as I'm alive"? Was she saying
No, no,
that?
no. She says it to me.
Okay, so was she loving and caring towards her children?
Oh, she was loving and caring towards her kids.
Okay,
She was very protective of her kids.
okay.
So she would say she would even go as far as well, Kobata found one more mini. Oh, ni choice.
Ah,
You know,
hey,
I'm saying the ones I can say, there's quite a lot. Anyway,
no.
so she would say those things. And
Wakobata. For those of you who
so
don't understand Yoruba, now you go carry the slippers, you go carry the load of my children. That's what the auntie was saying to Dupe. Wakobata. They
you
have
know,
many Yoruba people here, so I know. Tell
yeah.
me, interpret.
So she would say all those things. And for me, I always knew, like, of course, like in school, they would say to me, I was quite good in school. So my teachers were like, you are very intelligent and stuff like that. But it was just yeah. So obviously when I left her house, I was so determined not to
To
have
succeed, to
those
prove
things.
her wrong.
Said.
Yeah, yeah.
I was so determined. So when I left her house, so my triggers, apart from the fact that her husband and the ring of pedophiles did what they did, it was more of the abuse I went through.
Hmm.
So it wasn't just a case of this is what they did to me. It was then like all the other things that were tied up with it. So as a matter of
Mm-hmm.
fact, I would say in summary, when I was leaving the house, I remember the housemaid. She said a summary word. She said, "Dupe, if you, the slave, is leaving this house, me
Hmm.
house girl, I no get chance."
Hmm.
That's quite a powerful word.
You are the slave. She is the house girl. So you are even lower than her as a house girl.
The interesting thing, when I
Hmm.
stayed with her, or rather when I left her, a lot of people did not believe that I was even related to her.
To her, they
People,
thought you were a paid employee,
so
a
people
paid
were
maid.
quite surprised. People were quite
Hey,
surprised that I'm related to her.
in blood.
I'm telling you.
Hey, hi.
So anyway, that's that. So obviously, like I said, I got pregnant. And so when I got pregnant, I was getting ready for uni anyway that year. And I always said to myself, I don't like this, you can't make it. I hate that word, you can't make it.
Hmm.
So I pushed myself. I have an accounting degree. While I was in uni back then, of course, it wasn't a common thing then, but obviously because of ASU, the almighty ASU that strikes
Oh
then.
yes, oh yeah. They started when I was in
Oh,
uni as well.
oh
That's when
yeah.
it started. Yeah,
So when ASU goes on strike, because again, the only way I kept myself busy because I like reading. Well, I
yeah,
don't know. I wouldn't say I like it. I think it was just a protective factor for me.
yeah,
Come
yeah,
to think about it.
yeah,
So, and one thing about me when I read is I love reading real life stories. I don't like reading frictions.
yeah,
I'm always curious about real life stories. You know, so I read real life things like biographies and
yeah, yeah,
like even when I'm watching movie, I love to watch real life storyline. So
yeah.
sometimes I get so frustrated, when I watch Nollywood because I really get frustrated, you know. Anyway, so went through uni. I had my ICANN during the days of strike. So by the time I was
Hmm.
graduating, when everybody was still, back then when you graduate from school, you normally would go and do marketing in bank. I didn't go for marketing because I already had an ICANN. So I was walking into a managerial role in the banking industry then in a CBA central bank, because then it used to be all these. Now central bank obviously have younger people, but then it used to be old. These mommies and daddies that would refuse to have their hair grey. They would dye in their hair.
Yes.
So yeah, so I got in there and I used to help out. Like I was working because I had an uncle, again my maternal family, who was a minister of finance. So he had a company. He had an auditing company. So myself and the son run the company on his behalf. And I suppose that also motivated me to do my ICANN, because we too as youngsters now wanted to
Yeah.
chaperone it.
You had your dreams.
So yeah, so I did my ICANN, and then uh of course the banking industry was changing, and I decided, all these the people from abroad will just come, they will give them money, they will pay them well, and then why can't I go abroad? So I came to the UK. So when I came here, I decided, because back in Nigeria, when you are in Nigeria, you just assume that when you're coming to the UK, you come straight to a good job because you already have
Yeah.
a good job. And I was
Yeah.
already used to smart dressing, being a
And
banker.
because you being a British citizen already because of your birth in the
Yeah,
UK, yeah, you got your passport, so you
yeah,
think you are coming home to the good life.
exactly. So
Mm-hmm.
when I got here, I was quite irritated that my first job had to be I was a cleaner
Hmm.
in McDonald's. And remember, this was me who was a manager in Intercontinental.
Oh yes, we all have
You
our
know,
stories, my sister. We all have
so
our stories.
I was irritated by that, and I
Mm-hmm.
decided, no, 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 I need to study. I don't want to be at the bottom of the ladder.
Yeah.
I went back, went to school, did a master's in risk and forensic auditing.
Yeah.
And then later on, I now decided. So when I was doing that, I was getting bored, you know. So I decided, you know what? Then a lot was going on in my life as well, because there was a marriage breakup and everything. So I thought to myself, okay, you know what? I will go back. I want to go and do another degree. So I went and did a different degree entirely, and then did a master's in that. Did a master's to follow that up. Again, I was always interested. Funny enough, I suppose because of my own life experience, I was always
Mm-hmm.
interested in sexual reproductive health.
Yeah.
You know, so I looked at contraceptive because I had STD in between abuse, but I didn't
Yeah.
realize it. You
How would
know,
you know? With 12 abusers, how would you know?
and I always assumed that you had STD based on penetration. I didn't realize there was, like you can have it through fingering, like oral sex and stuff like that. So, those are things I didn't know at the time.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
anyway, those curiosity, I learned it. And then later on, I decided to train, which I'm doing the job I'm doing just now. So I did another master. So actually, I have 4 masters.
Oh,
And
I thought it was three. You got
yeah,
four. Oh
so I
yeah,
have two
guys,
degrees.
hold on, Dupe. Oh yeah, my people, clap for her.
No, it's okay. So I
Clap,
have
clap, 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 clap. I want to see the clap. Please, guys, give Dupe a big clap. I want to see the clap. This
so
woman has been through it all, and she came to the UK. She's got I thought it was even three. She's got 4 masters. Oh yeah, clap, guys, clap. This is the story of somebody who turned their lemons to lemonade with everything that happened to her. Some people will leave this experience and say, no, I'm done. This is what happened to me. I'm never going to be anything. My auntie told me, oh, my kobata fun our mommy.
and
But
I think
Dupe chose. She chose to prove her auntie. And all those 12 olori buruku alaye baje, I want to my shofo. She chose to she chose to turn her story around to prove them wrong. Please give a clap. Give a
so,
clap. Give some respect.
so
It's
in
not
between
easy.
doing that, I think for me, aside from what my auntie said as well, it was more like it was just because I had a child. I wanted to also prove to my son that yes, I might have him out of wedlock. You know, he has a bar. He has a bar to pick up and run with. You know, and because life, when for me, I just believe there are two things. Is either I go the drain
Yeah.
or I pick up my pieces.
Yeah.
And
And
so,
I'm sorry, Dupe, please. I'm sorry that I keep interrupting. This is so important
mm,
because you know what? I keep referring back to the case of Baba Ijesha, since the
yeah,
case of Baba Ijesha, and people sharing their. I had a video here. I don't know if you saw it, and a lot of women were sharing their experience of being as abused as children. I
yeah,
have a lot of people emailing me, DMing me, and telling me about their sexual abuse stories, and I keep
mm,
telling them you can allow this to be the rest of your life, or you can, because I know it's not easy. I've never
mhm,
been in that position, so I can't tell people what to do, but all I can do is just give advice. And that's why your story is so powerful, to encourage a lot of women that you don't need to be your history. You don't need to be what they said you are going to be. You don't need to be what that wicked auntie and uncle and all your abusers thought that you are going to be. This is your decision to make, that no, I'm going to break it. You said
mm.
I couldn't be this. I am this. Dupe has 4 master's degree. She's a very independent, accomplished woman. Please, I want this to sink in, because it's so important, because people leave their pain and they remain there. It is so difficult. You can
sorry,
talk to them
sorry.
and advise them.
Somebody just asked me a question. Yes, she's very much alive. Her husband is actually alive as well. They're
The
asking if
husband is away, is alive, and
they're
the
both
wife.
alive.
And
They're both alive. Somebody was asking if my auntie if my auntie's
yeah,
alive.
because we
Yeah.
want to know if you ever challenge a man, if you ever
Okay.
challenge him.
I'll tell you what. Um, Fast forward, obviously, when I settled down and everything, um, like I said, my best way on reacting to them is
Education.
blank education and also blanking them out.
Yeah.
Because every time I remember them, it it brings out the devil in me or the
Hmm.
demon in me.
Yeah.
So at a point, my one of my siblings were very, very close. I know we're not meant to have favorite sibling, but anyway, hey, I
It
have one.
happens. Yeah, it does. It
So
does.
this my particular sibling, we talk, and my auntie reached out to him and said, talk to Dupe now. I don't know what I've done to her. Of course, she knows what she's done. Anyway, and then he came to me. We had this. He's got my mumu button.
Hmm.
So he sat me down. We talked, and then he said, "I know, but you know what? Just confront her."
Hmm.
You know? And I said to him, I said, "You know what? I'm going to give her one chance."
Again.
I said, "You see that one chance I will give her? If she messes it up, I will pull the plug on her."
Hmm.
So the one chance, I decided to reach out to her. And this was me. I've not spoken to her for 7 years. So reached out to her, invited her over to where I live. She came around. One, remember she's always said to me, "Oh, le shorire."
O lè ṣorí, o máa kó bàtà fún àwọn ọmọ mi.
So when she came to my house, when she
Hmm.
came, she was surprised that I have a property in my name.
Hmm.
So first, in short, to even enter through the front door was a problem.
Clap, 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 clap. Hold on, Dupe. Please don't rush the story. I want to relish. I want to enjoy it. Please, I'm begging you, my sister. Let us enjoy it. Clap. Are you guys clapping? I can't see your clap. Clap in the comment section. Clap. She turned her shame to glory. She turned her shame to a breakthrough. Auntie that say, "Oh my bàtà fún àwọn ọmọ mi," she has to pass through security. She cannot even get to her. It's not the kind of house you just walk up to and say, "Bang, bang, bang, ta ló wà nílé?" No, 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 no. No, no easy access like that. No, you have to follow protocol to get to that same young girl, that same Dupe that was 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 10 years that you say, "Oh, lè ṣoríire, ó máa kó bàtà fún àwọn ọmọ mi." Are you guys clapping? I want to see your clap. Clap, clap. Because this is a celebration. This is a breakthrough. This is a testimony. And I want a lot of people to learn from this. Carry on, my sister.
So she came around, and of course, we got talking, and she said she's sorry. And I said, so I just said to her, I said, "Well, you don't have to be sorry. I just have a question. Why did you allow this happen to me? Of course, she was in tears and everything. I said, well, I said, it's taking me ages to confront you, but I just need an answer. Just tell me why you did it. And of course, the usual is the devil, you know.
It's the devil. Yeah.
So I thought, okay, I'll let that slide. So another time she came around with a husband this time around.
The same man.
Yeah, the same man. So when they came around, of course, I mean, they're always very uncomfortable around me,
Of course.
you know.
Of course. They've
And
done evil to you. They cannot have peace around you. They
the thing is,
cannot.
she can't predict me because she doesn't understand. You know, this is someone I stayed with, so she knows the way I could react. So she's very uncomfortable around my coldness. Like I don't. The best way to say it is I don't have any emotions towards them. You know. And so anyway, so when the self and the husband came around, you know, in the evening, they stayed in the hotel because I wouldn't let them stay in my house. I just
Of
could not
course.
do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So went over to meet them in the hotel and everything. And you know, we got talking, and I said, I just have a question. I said, why did you do what you've done? And then I said, well, aside from that, I'll tell you something. You've ruined me. And I said, I'm not saying it because I want you to feel sorry for me. I'm saying it because I want you to understand you've ruined me.
It's the truth. I'm saying it because this is the truth.
I said, one, I had just one child and I didn't want to go through the stress of having another one because I'm terrified of having a daughter. And that's the honest truth. I am terrified of having a daughter.
Good.
I said, and I'm also terrified that I might not be able to protect my daughter. I said, so based on that, you've ruined me because I have chances to have more children. But I'm very mindful that that if I have a daughter, that might probably break me. So that aside, and I said, then you've made me someone that I'm not. Because yes, to an extent, you've helped me to train my eyes to spot abuse and train my nose to smell abuse from a distance. I said, but unfortunately, the person I ever loved so much, I couldn't share my story with her.
That's your mother.
That's my mom because my mom had passed.
Yeah.
I said, the fact that I knew that she went to her grave without me, I said, even in a dying bed, because I was the last person that my mom spoke to before she gave up. I said, I still remember those last words. Can you please tell me why you are a different person?
Oh.
And I wasn't bold to tell her.
You didn't want to break her heart. You were still trying to protect her with everything you've been through.
And, you know, they just kept saying, yeah, like he didn't know what to say. He was crying. Of course, I knew it was all lies. But, and I said, because you can't answer my question, I will relate with you guys, but from a distance. And I will only do it when it's convenient for me. So that is that. And then over time, you know, they will call. I mean, sometimes I'll speak to them, but then like the demon in me would always arise.
Why are you still in contact with them, Dupe? Why?
Well, just my mom's only surviving sibling
I
anyway.
don't care. These people
Yeah, but
abuse you.
hold on. So I went for therapy, right? I went to what they call open secrets.
God.
I went for therapy with them, paid
This is too much.
I
What you've
paid
been
for
through
about 7 sessions.
it's too much.
It was fine until we got to the stage where I need to recreate. And that's why I get angry with that Baba Ijesha's what Princess did with Baba Ijesha, with that lady, with the girl,
Yeah.
you know, because I had to, you know, with the counseling, of course, it's a safe space for me.
Yeah.
But I had to recreate, you know, because that's the only way we can go about the counseling.
Yeah.
I need to recreate that scene. And I tell you, even as I speak, like some of the things I'm saying, I'm skipping, obviously. It's very difficult to recreate it. It's just difficult.
It's too much.
When I
It's too
try to
traumatic.
recreate it,
It's like bringing the trauma alive all
yeah,
over
so when I
again.
tried to recreate it, I ended up on Prozac. That's an antidepressant. I ended up with a very high
Of
dose of
course, of
Prozac.
course. With everything you've been through.
And I didn't want to stay on medication, so I took myself off it. And so what I do is, what I now decided to do was, instead of staying on medication, because we talked, myself and my counselor talked about it, and she was the one that advised that I go do what I'm doing currently, the job I'm doing currently. And she said, there are some people, they will never heal through therapy, but they
Yeah,
can heal from a specific nature of job. And
yeah,
that's what I'm doing. And to be honest, when I work with people, and stories like that come up with some of the people I work with, there's something about me. And it's always interesting because, like, my director would always say, Dupe, we don't understand. Like, people need to people need to train and get specific skills to do this, but you do this naturally.
naturally, because this is your experience. This is what you've lived. This is
You
your
know.
life.
So, like, when they talk about sex abuse or child abuse and stuff, they always say, "Oh, Dupe is the go-to person." You know, it's very easy to create a safety plan around this. I don't know. Maybe in future I might be able to go back, but I've attempted. I mean, they're all private therapies.
Organization. Yeah,
I've attempted private therapy thrice, and I just didn't get around it. I would everything is fine until I get to that stage where I need to recreate the same.
it's too much.
And because it happened for a period of 6 years, 10 years, sorry, it's very difficult. It's just very, very difficult. Yeah.
Oh my God, Dupe, I don't know what to say. I'm in tears. Everybody in the comment section is tearing up here. I heard a bit of your story before we came on live, but hearing the full story now, you are such an incredibly strong woman. You've been through so much in your life, and you are still here. You are standing. You are able to share. You have your life. You have your son, and oh my God, oh my God, I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say because you are so strong. I mean, the fact that you didn't want you kept talking about how you want to protect your mother. You said, "Oh, that is the only sibling." The only sibling is a devil who only cares. She was jealous of your mom. There was sibling rivalry there. She hated your mom, and she wanted to ruin you. But God didn't give her that power. God didn't give her that ability. But you are here today. You are standing. All I can say is that you know what? God is good. God,
Yeah.
you are a lioness. Somebody said it. Miss P. Yeah. Simply Miss P said, Dupe, you are a lioness. That's what you are. You are victorious. Somebody else said. You are victorious. Thank you so much for opening up and sharing your story with us. It is not easy. I know. You care about child protection so much, and that's why you wanted to put your story out there. So what do you want to tell people who are out there? A lot of people have logged off. They say, no, this is too much. It's triggering me. People who don't want to share, and their life has been programmed and conditioned by their experience and the abuses and the things they went through, like you. What do you want to tell them?
I think, yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to get myself from, yeah.
Yeah, we understand. Take all the time you need.
Yeah, I think one thing I would say is, obviously, I know that we all react differently
Yeah.
and we all respond to things differently. I wouldn't tell you I'm a totally healed person, because that's not true. And I
Okay.
don't know anybody who has ever been through abuse that is totally healed. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, absolutely.
because it's an experience that would always linger, and it's an experience that would always something we always trigger. You always find something that triggers it.
Yeah.
But one thing I would say is perhaps um, the first thing is don't think low of yourself. It's very easy to sink in. I mean, I have a friend who went through exact same, maybe not something as deep as mine, and she's in rehab today.
Yeah.
She couldn't get her head around it.
Yeah. Because we are different.
Because we all,
Yeah,
yeah,
we're all different. The way we can be resilient. You took solace, and you were able to put your pain in your academics. You achieved so much academically. You were able to cope through studying and improving yourself. But there are so many people out there who can't get out
yeah.
of this rut. And somebody is asking you, Emike is asking you, Dupe, what career are you in, and how long did it take you to get in, including the masters? And I'm an accountant, but I don't like what I do. I like to help kids. So I suppose this is someone that's been through that experience, and they want to help people. You said you went into this because you wanted to help people. So
Yeah, so originally I trained as an accountant, and then obviously I had a master's around it, and then I decided to do policy, social policy, and sociology. Now, the only reason why I was interested in that is because I'm very interested in inequality because and
yeah,
social stratification. And if you
yeah,
listen to my story, my father died, broke the age financially, you know, and it meant, and widows are not highly rated in Africa. Well, not
yeah,
in Africa, even here as well. But when one dies, it puts a burden on the fam on
on
there's
the
a
family.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So for me, I was always, for whatever reason, I've always been interested in stratification, what brings about inequality, how can we merge inequality, and what do we do around it, and how do we put a safety net around families,
yeah,
and so because of that, I study sociology and social policy. And social policy basically is to understand policies around, like, family unit and just different things, like how the policy things work.
yeah,
And that was very interesting for me. And then I went ahead to do, I did a master's in that, which allowed me to study, what's the name? The womb rental. So that's what we call the surrogate parent, surrogate mothers, how
yeah,
the surrogate system works. And then, because I was always interested in sexual reproductive health, I suppose, like I said, apart from the fact I was abused, I also had a child when I was young, and I didn't like the narrative of as a teenager. Some people would say because I was a teenager, I had a child. That was why I'm doing prostitution. I don't
yeah,
believe in
yeah,
narrative, So I wanted to prove a point, and so I went ahead and did a sexual reproductive health, a master's in that. And I wasn't just doing it for the fun of doing it. It's just because I was doing work that was related to that.
your
Okay.
experience. Yeah,
So I was just curious. I'm just someone that wants to know how to do it right. Because
yeah,
hopefully I don't plan to own a charity, but I plan to be able to, hopefully one day, because I love Nigeria a lot. I love to be able to help, in sharing my expertise. Even if I do it for free, I don't mind. But
yeah,
as long as it makes a difference. And I was able to work with their BA project in Ondo State. Anybody that the safe motherhood, where we're able to reduce maternal mortality and child
yeah,
mortality in Ondo State, and went ahead to win awards. So in between doing that, of course, when I was doing their BA project, a lot of child protection cases came up,
yeah,
and I know that in Nigeria we have different grades. Each state manages their own child protection policies. But obviously, in the Western country here, child protection is managed by the state itself, by the
yeah,
government rather. So I wanted to do a child protection course, but they wouldn't let me. They said I needed to be a social worker. So
yeah,
then I was forced to go and do a fourth master's.
yeah,
So I had to do a social work master's, and I'm specialized in child protection and forensic evidencing.
Okay.
So, so
Now
child
that you said
protection.
that,
Okay,
Dupe, let me ask you.
okay,
You did a master's in social work
yeah,
because you are very, very interested in child protection because of
yeah.
your experience. What does having, a victory in this Baba Ijesha saga, what does it mean to you as somebody who's experienced sexual molestation, abuse as a child in Nigeria, and the system and everything in the society shutting you down because you are a child and you have no voice? What does it mean to you?
Um, if victory is gotten, it means a lot because a lot of people can come out,
Yeah,
and it also means that children do not feel silenced.
yeah.
Okay, but then if I was really furious with what's the name of this guy that did a video? What's his name now? What's his name? There's a guy that did a movie around it.
Oh, that's yeah, we know him. He's what's it?
So,
Yeah, I know him. Yeah, I know him.
anyway,
I can't remember his name now.
so the guy,
Let's not mention his name. It's not relevant.
no,
Yeah,
no, 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 no. I'm trying to make a point about that. Like that movie that was made,
yeah.
when you look at it, it doesn't even humiliate the adult. It's more of the girl because it means that when you make when a girl child speaks, remember when I told my auntie and she said I would, you don't speak about this, don't ever, it reinforces that culture of
Yomi
silence.
Fabi, that's his name. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
that's his name. Yomi
Yeah.
Fabi. Yeah,
So
the he
that
say he
video,
claims to be the
no, no, no. That
he claims to
video,
be the human rights advocate.
oh no, no, it's far. Anyway, that video that he did,
No, say it,
for,
say it,
yeah,
please say it.
that video that he did further
Mm,
reinforces the culture of silence.
yes,
And
yes.
and to be honest, knowing the way the judiciary system is in Nigeria, because I was hearing, I think some of the elderly Yoruba actors,
Oh
some of them
yes,
planted videos and they were saying, let's just, we have asked princess to go, we have beggar, let us do it new Okuorun. And
oh
I'm like,
yes,
that is a child that alive. I mean, I'm in my 40s, I'm in my mid 40s.
yeah.
And for me to be able to be recounting what happened to me as far back as I was 6,
5, yes, 6, yeah,
you know so it's not child abuse is not something that, even if it's physical abuse of a child, is not something that lives overnight.
yeah.
Every adult, if you look at every adult, there is something when they react. If you trace back why they react, there are things that has happened probably in their childhood,
Oh
and you
yes.
can't take that away. And I'm
Mhm.
just wondering if there's a victory for that girl, I think it will be massive for Lagos State, because one, in the sense that parents perhaps and young girls or young boys, because
Mhm.
we can't ignore the fact that boys, because although it does happen to girls, but then there are a lot of boys too that are abused.
Mhm. Yeah.
So if Lagos State hopefully is able to secure justice for the girl, I'm assuming that would trigger more children who have been abused to seek justice in the Lagos State system, and hopefully Lagos State become a pioneering
Yeah.
protection system for the
States. Yeah.
rest.
I'm quite impressed with Lagos State, to be honest. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie. A young lady came on this platform last week and told her story. Her name is Fumi. Some of you will remember her, some of you who are my regular subscribers. Lagos State is the way, I mean, I heard so many good things about Lagos State in terms of what they are doing. They've got clinics who are dedicated to testing and getting evidence for people who are sexually abused. So much is going on in Lagos State. So kudos to Lagos State.
yeah, and also apart from the justice system in Lagos State, I would hopefully wish that I call them Yeye British, and I have a reason for doing that. I would hope that the Yeye British would come out and lend their voice, because, like in a Western country, the celebrities here, they don't keep quiet.
No,
Use
no.
their voice. They don't have to
Mm-hmm.
be paid
Yeah,
to say something. They stand up against the heels of
yeah.
society. But what we have in Nigeria is the Yeye British who, in short, I was surprised to hear that some of them get paid when they talk about ills in the society. They get paid to talk about it. And I'm just wondering at what stage, yes, fair enough, it happened to, I mean, it's not a good thing that it happened to a child in princess care, but I'm just wondering how many more children are
Does it
in
have to
this?
happen to before they will
Because there
take
are a lot of
action?
children, there are a lot of
Yeah,
children in Nigeria. I mean, with social media, we're beginning to see more things. Not
yeah,
because it's new, it's just social media is putting it out in the open more.
yeah.
And one of the things is there are a lot of innocent kids, hopefully, like myself and many others, who um, would never have a voice, right? And
Hmm.
but if you have the Yeye British, even their movies, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they can like sometimes when I watch some movies, there was a movie that just came out recently, and I was really furious because I
Mm-hmm.
was expecting that movie to capture a better part of the diaspora.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I was quite surprised that Pascal Atuma could do such a low life movie because he's been very good with his movies. And also, we also have some of the cliques in Nollywood, the English Nollywood, who tends to do stuff around women, like children abuse and stuff, which to an
Yeah,
extent give them kudos. But then their storyline doesn't always hold water. I mean, they do what they can do. But I'm hoping that we do more of storylines, hopefully, that
yeah,
draws attention. Because, like, I mean, my sister, we live in the West here.
yeah.
When they do movie, they do orishirishi kind of movie.
Oh
But then
yes.
there's some movies that when you watch in between it, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, like even this COVID, they've already acted movie on COVID ages ago.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about different things. There's always something to learn. But our Yaya Brity and our Nollywood, in short,
Yeah, yeah, Pretty.
the race to Netflix now and the race to create movies now is just about showing wealth and flaunting wealth.
Oh yes.
And just while we're on this, I also want to also maybe touch on the music industry. You say the lyrics in those songs
Mm-hmm.
further justifies abuse.
Okay.
Because if you listen to some of the movies, some of the video vixen, or some of the songs, even the lyrics of some of their songs, when we're young, it wasn't like they didn't sing about love songs. I mean, we had Phil Collins, Felice Liberty, and all of them. They sang, but they were
Yeah,
not so explicit. But now, what do we have? We have song that literally leaves you with nothing to imagine.
yeah,
And it's a shame that it's both male and female. It's like this is what is trending. That's what we call it. And I keep asking myself, trending, as in you are promoting abuse and you're saying it's trending. And our children, what I mean, when you go to parties, you have little children who are twerking, you know, and one thing we need to understand is pedophiles are sick. They're sick people. It's
yeah.
not written on anybody's head that this is a pedophile. And I also want to clarify something. Pedophile is not just a male, it could also be a female,
Oh yes. We've seen that on this platform.
you know. So, and the reality is, when you look at those, for us as parents, I mean, my own child is grown up, but for those of us who have little children, I would
Mm-hmm.
say we need to be mindful
Mm-hmm.
of what our children watch. Because what I never said, because I skipped quite a lot of my story, one of the things that turned my uncle on, one of my uncles that abused me, one of the perpetrators, one of the things I used to turn him on was he used to play, what's the Mini Valeli.
Hmm.
The song, I would never forget that song. He used to play Mini Vanelli, and he would play it. Of course, it wasn't explicit, but
Mm-hmm.
it was just I know it from the start. You could break my heart. That's how bad. I remember that, right?
Hmm.
So, and it was, and it would get me to dance to it,
Hmm.
you know, and I would dance to it. And when he's doing is a tragedy for me to see the
Our
dream is
love is over.
over. And then that was when he would plug his mouth, he stick his tongue into my mouth,
Oh my God.
you
Hi,
know.
Chineke.
And I'm talking of then I was 9, you know. So what am I saying? To children, your children are singing this music. I'm not saying it's everybody, but I'm just giving my own experience anyway.
Oh yes, of course.
These are things that, as parents, you're like, oh, my children are dancing to this. But then what is it? What's a picture of it?
Mm-hmm.
What's a picture of it to that child? Who are the adults around? Even if the children were living with mom and dad, who are the adults in your household?
Yeah.
What does it do to those children?
Mm-hmm.
What does it do to those adults? How does those adults see those children when
Mm-hmm.
those lyrics? Because like you have I know come this life to suffer,
Mm-hmm.
you have those kind of songs. You have there's lots. Even the music, the kind of music like they sing about bombs, they sing about they sexualize women,
Yeah.
and it's not just women because even boys, you find that now we have so many Bobrisky producing themselves.
Yes.
You understand? And then there's this new thing of kissing themselves, like you kiss your children.
Yeah.
We need to be cautious of what we're doing and mindful of what we're doing. And I'm saying all of this because, like the kind of job I do, funny enough, with the world of internet, sexual abuse is growing, even in the Western country.
Oh
Like,
yes.
we have apps that can tell teenagers. I mean,
Yeah.
most of our
Mm-hmm.
teenagers, there are apps that tells teenagers who wants to have sex in the next minute, and they would go and do what they have to do. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if it's in Nigeria, but here there are apps like that. So the battle we are having, like with this COVID now, the battle we are having with in my line of work is
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily about domestic abuse or physical abuse with children. Is
Yeah, it's
the
about what children
teenagers,
are consuming online.
is the teenagers because they're very smart. They're very smart and fast with the internet. So they are creating platform. They are creating alternatives to Snapchat. They are creating
Yeah.
alternatives to TikToks. You know, and they are creating it in a way that they can have sex. You don't need to physically see someone to have
Yeah.
sex with the person. That
Yeah.
is unfortunately what is coming up. And when you have music like this, like I've seen videos online or even on YouTube where you see children twerking and they say they're twerking. And I'm talking of like little children, maybe less than 9 year old
Yeah.
twerking, what does that mean for that child? Is that child doing it to you as a parent? You think, oh, I'm organizing
It's
birthday
cute.
party,
It's cute. Yeah.
you know? So what I'm just saying is I think we need to be mindful of, like me, obviously, because I'd gone through a lot. Of course, I've not shared. If I have to share my story, I probably will not live here.
Somebody
But
said you should write a book.
I've
They say you
I've
should write a book.
been
A lot of people
lazy.
in the comment
I'm
section
trying
said,
to make a movie out of my story
yeah,
because,
they say you should
like I
write a
said
book.
to you, sis,
Mhm.
there's many
Mhm.
segments to my story.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, I'm having to summarize it, but I've just been lazy writing book. To be honest, I want to actually document it because the reason why I'm refusing to write book is because with our African community or our Black community, we don't read.
We don't read. No,
But when you
we
visualize
don't read.
something,
Yeah.
like that Anchor Baby, for instance, that Omoli Omboli did, that movie actually resonates with a lot of people. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and there's a power to visual. There's a power to visual. It's just like
Yeah.
what we're doing now. The
Yeah.
chance of people listening to this is higher than people
Yeah.
reading. I wrote
Reading.
about,
Yeah. You're right.
you
You're
know.
absolutely right. Thank you
So
so
yeah,
much. Thank you so much, guys. We got almost 500 people in the comment section.
no,
Please give a clap. Let's celebrate Sister Dupe for having the courage to come on to share her story. We've listened to her for the past almost 2 hours.
jeez,
She's so brave. Thank you so much. You don't know what you've done tonight. It's not just telling your story, but you've encouraged, you've motivated, you've done so much for other people who experienced sexual abuse, violence, and all that growing up. Thank you so much,
Sorry,
Dupe.
somebody said I should do a documentary series on Netflix. Probably when Obodoyibo is ready. Probably get around that. I'm quite happy to do it through her. And we get
Okay,
around that
no worries. We
anytime. Yeah,
will.
we get
We
around that.
will. We will. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much
Thank
for
you.
having me. Thank
Thank
you.
you
Thank
so
you.
much. We appreciate you. Please give it up. Give it up for Dupe. Give it up for Sister Dupe. She's been amazing. Thank you for sharing your deepest vulnerability, being open and sharing your story with us. We appreciate you. We love you. And you know what? Your best is yet to come. God has greater plans for you, and you're gonna go ahead and do. You see that your auntie that said, "Oh, le shorire tóun bá wà láyé, she's gonna die. She will die. She has to die so that o máa ṣoríire." Because anybody that says o máa kú, that you le ṣoríire tí n bá wà láyé, then ọ̀run làlà. Thank you so much, Jupe. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you so much. Your
Thanks.
healing is permanent. Your breakthrough is permanent, and you continue to encourage and uplift so many more people with your story in Jesus' name. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks so much. Thank you.
Thank you. We love you.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye bye. Whew. Guys, I didn't need to say anything tonight. I didn't need to share my link. I didn't need to call other people to come and share their story. This is enough. The first story is about the story of child molestation. She gave you the story from when she was born, everything that happened, sending her child, or her mom sending her to Africa because her dad died. Oh my God. What my final was that I hope it encourages you. And if you are someone who's been in these shoes, you've been abused, you've been, ridiculed, you've been called names, and whatever you've been through, that you realize that you are not alone. There's beauty for your ashes. God is not done with you yet. Let Dupe's story encourage you. Let it motivate you. And I hope you learn from her. Today, she's successful. She's an achiever. She's done so well for herself. She's independent. She's, she's a woman that every man wants. Wow. Wow. What can I say? I don't know what to say again. I say, love you, Dupe. Please show her some love before I end. Thank you, Dupe. Thank you for being vulnerable enough but to share. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Everybody in the comments, they are saying they love you, they appreciate you, and they really, really respect you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And people, I don't need to say anything again. What do I need to say? I don't need to say anything. Yeah. She has done so well for herself, even with everything that's happened. So my final comment is that a lot of you that are reaching out to me by WhatsApp, email, telling me how, everything you've been through, I want Dupe's story to be, something that encourages you to know that irrespective of what happened to you as a child, you have no power. You are helpless. And this thing happened to you. But this doesn't need to be the end of your life. Look at Dupe. Let Dupe's story encourage you. Let it give you strength, and let it promote you and give you what you need to be that person that you always wanted to be. It is not about what happened to you. It's about what you choose to do with it. So to everyone that has been abused, ridiculed, and told, oh, lè ṣoríire nígbà tó bá wà láyé. That auntie, she would die because Dúpẹ́ ó máa ṣoríire. She will excel. She will do greater things. If this is your story, just know that there are so many more people out there who have been through the same experience with you and they've come out victorious, and you are not alone. God is with you. And you will succeed. You will survive. Everything they say you couldn't do, you will do it to the glory of God. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Dupe. We appreciate you. We love you, sis. Go on and, do even much more than what you've told us tonight. The Lord is your strength. We love you. We appreciate you. And your healing will be permanent in Jesus' name. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I love you. Please click on the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Thank you. Have a good evening.